When I first saw him, he seemed like something out of a cheesy romance novel. Tall, confident, with eyes that you either drown in or get saved by. He approached me at a party hosted by a mutual friend and said, "Your eyes are the color of coffee. I'd like to drink them every morning." Silly, right? Now it sounds cheesy, cliched, almost laughable. But back then, I had just come out of a painful breakup, and I wanted someone to choose me again. He chose me. I wanted to believe. We started dating quickly. He called me in the morning and texted before bed. Treated me to pasta at a small Italian restaurant. Knew flower names. Remembered my cat's name. For the first time in a long time, I felt desired. As if someone was carefully picking me up from the shards. After 3 months, he proposed we move in together. I hesitated, it was fast. But he said things that made my head spin. "I don't want to waste time. I feel like you're the one." You know, sometimes we want to be deceived. Not because we're stupid, but because we're so tired of being strong. We rented a bright apartment near the subway. On weekends, he made coffee, put on vinyl records, and read newspapers aloud to me, like we were characters in a French film. He seemed real. Genuine. Without dark sides. Without secrets. Sometimes he was late. Sometimes he didn't answer. "Work's crazy," he said. "Call with a client," he brushed off. Tired, he whispered and turned away to sleep. And I believed. Because I wanted to. Because by that point, he was already part of my life. As if I had grown into him. And he into me. Like a tooth that's sick but doesn't hurt yet, slowly destroying from within. One day, I saw in the mirror a woman with dull eyes. With bags under them. Without sparkle. I asked myself, when did you stop being yourself? There was no answer. Then I found the first accidental message. On his laptop screen. A messenger notification popped up. A woman's name. Hearts. "I miss you. You're so tasty in the morning." He came into the room. I managed to close the screen. Smiled. "Everything okay?" he asked. I nodded. And at that moment, something inside me broke. For the first time in a long time, I felt like a stranger in my own apartment. That night was the quietest in my life. I didn't scream or shout. Didn't ask, "Who is she?" I just lay staring at the ceiling, realizing I'd been living in a theater all this time. He was acting. And I was paying for the ticket with my love. Waking up the morning after that night, I realized there was no turning back. I needed to know the truth. Not the one he told, but the one hidden beneath layers of lies and promises. I started with the small things. I noticed a new app on his phone, a messenger he never mentioned before. Why? I didn't know. But the need to find out what he was hiding burned inside me. At first, I just observed. Watched how he replied to messages, hiding the screen if I came close. But even in his carelessness, there were mistakes. The name Marta popped up more often than it should have. Marta, a young woman with a beautiful social media profile. She seemed the perfect opposite of me, light, bright, free. One day, when he went to shower, I took a risk. I opened his phone, quickly scrolling through the chat. There were words that hurt sharper than a knife. "You're the only one who understands me. I can't wait for our next meeting. I love your smile, even when you're sad." My heart clenched. But I couldn't stop. I decided to dig deeper, screenshots, photos, voice messages. Every new piece was a blow to my fragile faith. He wasn't just cheating, he was living a parallel life to mine. I met Marta. Coincidence? Probably not. I signed up for painting classes at the same studio she attended, and when I saw her, I couldn't hold back. She was 10 years younger than me, with radiant skin and confidence in every movement. I approached her and said, "Are you Marta?" She was surprised, smiled, and nodded. "Yes." "And you?" I didn't lie. I told her I knew a bit about her. About him. About us. We talked for hours. She didn't know he was married and thought we were just friends. She cried, I cried. At that moment, I realized we were both linked by the same story of betrayal, but each of us was alone in it in our own way. Back home, I found the courage to ask him directly, "Are you cheating on me?" He looked at me without looking away. Then said, "No. You're imagining things. You just don't trust me." That was gaslighting. I started doubting myself, my sanity, the reality of what was happening. But I already knew the truth was close. And I would find it, no matter how bitter it was. After that conversation, the silence in our apartment became unbearable. Every glance, every silence, like a scream. I waited for him to say something, confess, ask for forgiveness. But his eyes remained cold and empty. I couldn't live in uncertainty anymore, so I took a step I never thought I would. I took his phone, copied all messages, voice notes, photos, everything that could prove my pain. Every conversation was like a hammer blow to my heart. They laughed together, made plans, promised each other the impossible. One day, I saw a date in their chats, the day we were supposed to celebrate our anniversary. They were planning to meet on that day. Accusations and tears, screams and pleas, everything mixed in my mind. I didn't know who I hated more, him for cheating or myself for being blind. He tried to justify himself. It was once. I wanted to stop, but she wouldn't let go. "You have to understand." But his words sounded empty. As if the air I breathed had suddenly turned to poison. I felt not only our marriage falling apart but myself too. In the mirror, a stranger stared back, exhausted, broken, lost her faith. One night, when he was asleep, I woke up to a call. It was Marta. "I can't keep silent anymore," she said. "You have to know the whole truth." Her voice was trembling. She told me he promised to leave me but always found excuses. That he shared not only his body but secrets he never told me. At that moment, I realized I wasn't the only victim. But not the only one hurting either. That was the point of no return. I decided to fight for myself. Not for him, not for the family, but for the person I used to be, free, strong, alive. After the revelations, everything between us became like a battlefield. Every look turned into a shot, every word, a blow below the belt. He kept dismissing me, saying I was crazy, seeing things that weren't there. Gaslighting became his weapon, and I felt myself starting to lose control. He skillfully twisted facts, making me doubt myself. "You're paranoid," he said, looking into my eyes as if trying to provoke me. "You want to make everything complicated." I cried into my pillow because I realized I was fighting not only him but my own mind. He tried to stay close, begged for forgiveness between fights, promised to fix everything, but in the same evening left 4 work meetings that no one ever saw. One day, I gave an ultimatum, either the truth or divorce. He was silent. I felt this war wasn't about him and me. It was about me and my right to be heard, my right to respect and truth. In such moments, I called my best friend. She was the only light in my tunnel. "You deserve better," she said, "and if he can't be honest with you, let him go." But I couldn't just let go. It was scary to start living again, without the familiar perfect man, without the familiar image of family. It felt like an addiction, to pain and hope at the same time. Every morning, I looked in the mirror and asked myself, "Are you stronger than your pain?" The answer wasn't clear yet. But one thing was certain, I wouldn't let him kill me. He disappeared. One morning I woke up and he was gone. His phone was silent. Messages unanswered. As if he vanished into thin air, taking my illusions with him. The first hours, I thought it was just another game, silence as pressure. But with every minute passing without news, fear inside me grew. I decided to take matters into my own hands and called Marta. "He left?" Her voice trembled. "Yes, he promised to be with you but never intended to." She helped me understand I wasn't alone. That we were both victims of the same man, who chose us like cards in a game. That same day, I found chats with another woman, a second Marta, a second story. He was a master of deception, lies, and double lives. I sat in silence, feeling a growing emptiness inside me. But alongside that emptiness came a fire of determination. I decided it was time to draw a line. He tried to come back. Calls, messages, promises to change, prayers for forgiveness. But I was already different. I looked him in the eyes and said, "No. I don't believe you." And that was the first step to freedom. After I said no, the world around me stopped seeming black and white. It became complicated, painful, but real. At first, it was scary. The emptiness in the apartment was louder than any words. I learned to breathe again, learned to be alone, without lies and masks. I started seeing a therapist, reading books about self-respect and boundaries. I kept a journal where there were no more excuses or regrets, only honesty with myself. I met my true self, the one I hid behind hopes and fears. She was stronger than I thought. I stopped blaming myself. Stopped dreaming about what was and what could have been. I realized, sometimes people leave not because you're not good enough, but because they need to move on themselves. Now I live my life. Slowly but surely. Building relationships where there is trust and honesty. Learning to believe again, first myself, then others. I know that betrayal isn't the end, but the beginning of a new path. A path where I'm no longer afraid to be myself.